On this week's edition of Hot Box, we have a Moss heater fan. At least I think it's a Moss. It's made by TAT. It's not labeled Moss, but they sold these. It is a 52-inch span. Dates to, I want to say, 1983. It's 3-speed, reversible, of course. The really neat thing here is, yeah, vented housing. Cool. And if you can see there, the motor is big. The motor is probably at 188 by 25. It is a big boy. It's a big chunky motor, and I think it was made that large only because around the motor is a squirrel cage blower. Because in the housing is a heating element. Yes, there is a heating element in the housing here. You can choose either 800 watts or 1200 watts. So essentially, the heater fan is really a bit of a gimmick. Not very manufacturers tried it. Didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it was just like, why? I mean, the thought here was, right? Oh, you have a cold room with no heat? Right? Okay, let's put a heater in your fan. Right? So basically, what would happen here is that there'd be a heating element in the housing. There are vents on the blade irons. Okay? And there's a blower in the housing that would blow the air out of the housing, and basically it would blow heat out, and then the blades themselves would propel it downwards. Yeah, interesting concept. I mean, there was another heater fan in the 2000s made by Riker. It was a hideous thing. But I mean, heater fans, there weren't very many. I mean, I know TAT made one, Firebird made one, Riker, whoever the hell that was, made one. I mean, heater fans just aren't really there. Because again, gimmick. Now, yeah, again, this one has a 188 millimeter, probably 188 by 25, very thick, heavy cast iron motor. Bit odd for TATs, considering most of these had stupid 153 by, I want to say, 18s in the housing. They were generally pretty weak. Anyway, see what this thing does. So the low speed is pretty average. Yeah, it's your average low speed. Let's go to medium. For whatever reason, it's wired medium, high, low, and off. I have a feeling someone tried replacing the pull chain in the past, or maybe it was a factory screw up. I don't know. The medium is actually somewhat fast. Which kind of leads me to believe that the main capacitor might be drifting. Which unfortunately was very, very common for TATs. Their quality control is not necessarily the best, at least with the capacitors, and they'd always fail. Let's go to high. See, there's not much difference between medium and high. Which implies something isn't quite right. I mean, this is a relatively average high speed, but I feel like there is a capacitor drifting somewhere. It's probably the main. Even though, again, the speed is pretty decent, but I feel like it should be faster considering how large the motor is. And no, I'm not using the heater function. There's no point. This is also my first heat fan. Or, excuse me, heater fan. I mean, I'll get one of the Firebird ones soon enough. And those Riker things can be thrown straight into the garbage, or better yet, off a roof. When I got it, it had no downrod, no canopy, so I mean, whatever. I believe it should have a moss canopy. Should. I'm not certain of that. And there you go, a Moss heater fan.